Hello everybody and welcome to this holistic vinyasa flow. My name's Ollie. This little troublemaker who doesn't understand personal space is called Poppy. And thank you for taking the time to practice with me today. So we're going to be touching on a little bit of everything today. We're going to be working on our flexibility, our strength. There's going to be a lot of standing balancing poses. And I might even throw in a couple of arm balances as well, because why not? And if the idea of arm balances freaks you out a little bit, then don't worry about it, because I'm going to be here to guide you through every step of the way, and we'll see if we can get you floating, even if it's just for a couple of seconds today. If you enjoyed today's class, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe so you never miss a video, and if you want the extended version of this class, the 75-minute version of this class, then click the link in the bio below, head over to my Patreon, where all my classes are at least 1 hour long, and you also get access to exclusive classes that you won't find here on YouTube. And now all that's said and done, we're going to go ahead and get started today in a comfortable seated position in the center of the yoga mat. So I'm going to go for a hero's pose, sitting on the heels, but if you want to sit cross-legged, that's perfectly fine. Also, by the way, if you have some yoga blocks, now would be a good time to go and grab them. They might come in handy later. But either way, wherever you are, sit up nice and tall, close down the eyes, hold the head and the chest up high as you embody that benevolent quality of nobility. Place the hands down on the knees as we take a moment here in stillness to arrive completely on our mat before we slip and slide into a nice holistic vinyasa flow. Seal the lips and then begin to notice the breath gently moving in and out through the nose. Start to establish that foundation of the breath, a steady rhythm of breath that you feel like you can maintain as we move through the practice today. Now keeping those eyes closed, on your next inhale, circle the hands all the way up to the sky, reach the fingertips up, and then exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Prayer pose in front of the chest. The intentions of our minds create the reality of our worlds. So whilst you're here with the hands at prayer position and the eyes closed, maybe you can take a moment to set an intention for today's class. What do I need to work on? What is it that's holding me back from fulfilling my full potential? If it feels right to you, bring the thumbs to the foreheads, gently bow the heads to seal that intention. And then blink open the eyes. Take an inhale, reach the fingers all the way up to the sky once more, maybe the palms touch. And then exhale, let's make our way into a tabletop pose. So hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Tuck the toes under for now. Let's do a little wrist warm-up whilst we're here in this tabletop. So begin to sit the hips back towards the heels. Feel that nice stretch all the way down the back of the feet, deep into the toes. And then slowly shift the shoulders forwards. Keep on pushing into the floor through the palms until the shoulders move over or towards the fingertips. Feel that nice stretch within the forearms. And try to push down in between the thumb and the index finger as you divert the pressure into the strongest part of the hands and the wrists. And then sit back onto the heels. Let's do that about 5 more times. Moving forwards and backwards. Keeping that breath channeling in and out through the nose. One more time, move forwards. Sit back onto the heels and then rotate the fingers so the fingers point towards the knees. Sit the heels back even more. Allow the bottom of the palms to gently start to peel upwards. Maybe drop one hand down at a time. We're going to be spending a lot of time on our hands and our wrists today, so it's just really important that we take a few moments to warm the wrists up properly. Beautiful work, everybody. Sit back onto the heels. Shake out the hands, get the blood flow going back into the fingertips. And then we're going to find our way into a downward facing dog. So tuck the toes, send the hips to the sky, drop the head. And then for your first downward facing dog, maybe start to pedal out the heels left and right. Feel free to move around in any way that feels good. Just take a moment to check in, scan the body. Work with whatever you have today. Every single day is different. Just give the body the time that it needs to open up. There's no rush here. Start to slow down any movement as we begin to arrive in stillness in this downward facing dog. Spread the fingers nice and wide, push into the palms. Reach those hips back, engage the shoulders so you're not collapsing into the shoulder joints. And then begin to straighten those legs to your own degree and let the heels be heavy as they sink down towards the ground. And if they don't touch the floor, then don't worry about it. Just move into your personal expression of a downward facing dog. And you might find that later on in the practice, once we've warmed up, once we've moved into the deeper tissues of the body, that this downward facing dog feels completely different. And maybe towards the end of class, you might be able to get those heels even closer to the floor. So it's always good to take these mental notes within your yoga practice as a way of noting progression. Let's take one more inhale here in downward facing dog. And then exhale, walk the feet forwards, in between the hands for a forward fold. Spread the feet out the width of the hips. Maybe keep a slight bend in those knees. Let the upper body be nice and heavy. Maybe grab onto opposite elbows, create a box around the head. Allow those elbows to sink down towards the floor. As you slowly begin to straighten those legs, breathe into those hamstrings. Breathe into the whole back line of the body. Drop the hands down in front of the feet. And then as you inhale, come onto the fingertips, halfway lift. Maybe bring the hands below the knees. Try to find that nice flat back shape. And then exhale, forward fold, release the hands back down to the floor. 2 more times, inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back, keep the neck in line with the spine so you're not cranking the neck. Exhale, forward fold, put a bend into the knees, and then inhale, circle the hands all the way up to the sky. Fingertips reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Inhale, circle the hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Take the plunge. Inhale, flat back. And then exhale, step the right foot to the back of the yoga mat. Drop the right knee down to the ground. Untuck the right toes. And then crawl the hands up on top of that left thigh, just behind the left knee. And begin to pulse the hips up and down. As we start to open up the lower body, focus on bringing mobility to that right hip flexor, so the inside of the right leg. And then find a nice comfortable position within the legs, your foundation. And then as you inhale, reach the fingertips to the sky for a low lunge position. Keeping those shoulders engaged. Reach the fingers up as you inhale. And then as you exhale, open twist to the left. So right hand forward, left hand back. Just being cautious that the twist is being initiated from the upper half of the torso. From here, begin to reach that left hand down to the back of the right hamstring. Maybe you can bring the hand down to the right calf and reach the right hand to the back of the space. Reverse lunge. Sink that right hip down low. Reach that shoulder and those right fingertips high. And breathe into that right side body. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bring the right hand down inside the left foot. Tuck the right toes under. Lift the right knee off the ground. And then inhale, reach the left hand up to the sky. Begin to peel that left shoulder back. Reach the left hand back for a subtle, easy twist. Keep those hips nice and low. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, begin to pivot the toes to the right side of the yoga mat. Widen the stance of the legs. Standing straddle forward fold. Prasarita. Turn the toes in, the heels out, and then maybe grab onto opposite elbows once more and allow those elbows to draw down towards the ground. Wherever you are, bring the hands back beneath the shoulder. Take an inhale, flat back, just like we did in the forward fold. And then exhale, begin to squat down into that right leg. Skandasana, spider lunge to the right. Either keeping the heel lifted or dropping the heel down to the floor. And then how about a beautiful stretch for all of those muscles along the back line of the left leg. Keep those left toes pointing towards you just to keep the knee safe. And if you tend to hyperextend, keep a subtle slight bend within the left knee. Let's take one more inhale here in Skandasana. And then as you exhale, lower the sit bones all the way down to the ground. We're going to make our way into a half shoelace pose. So readjust on the mat. Keep that left leg glued to the floor. Point the left toes towards you. And then begin to cross that right knee on top of the left leg. And what we're looking to do here is try to stack the knees on top of each other whilst keeping that right hip anchored down towards the floor. So if you can't actually bring the knees physically on top of each other, then just bring them as close to that position as you can. All right, don't force anything. Listen to your body and do what's best for you. Once you have those legs locked into this position, let's take an inhale, reach the hands up to the sky, and then exhale, begin to forward fold over that right leg, and maybe walk the hands forwards, just encouraging yourself deeper into the folds. Maybe grab onto the outside edge of the left foot with the right hand, and close down the eyes for a moment. Allow the breath, almost like a hypnotic trance, to guide you deeper and deeper into the pose. Blink open those eyes if you had them closed. Slowly start to walk the hands back towards the hips. And then from here, we're going to make our way back into that Skandasana position, so back into the low lunge. And you can use the hands to help guide you back into that position, or maybe you can try to do it without the hands. Challenge your mobility a little bit. So we find our way back into this Skandasana, spider lunge. Take an inhale here in Skandasana. And then as you exhale, start to move gracefully forwards. We're going to make our way into a pyramid pose. So turn the right toes forwards to face the top right hand corner of the yoga mat. Narrow the stance of the feet so both heels are flat on the floor. Straighten that left leg, keep the fingertips on the ground. Begin to gently pull that left hip back. Take an inhale, lift the chest off the left leg. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, dissolve. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, forward fold. All the way down on top of that left leg. Now you can stay here in a pyramid pose, or you can join me for a revolved triangle. So if you want to do that, come onto the fingertips, and then keep the right hand on the ground, and then inhale, begin to reach those left fingertips up to the sky, keeping those legs in the same position. The right side of the rib cage tucks under and up. Pull that left hand back. And then exhale, bring the left hand down to the ground. Bend the left knee, shift the weight forwards into the left foot, and then standing splits, float the right leg up to the sky. And don't worry too much about height here. Try to just keep that right leg as straight as you can. And if you want to add some challenge, maybe grab onto the back of the left ankle with the left hand. And if that's not challenging enough for you, bring the right hand to the left ankle as well. Try and stay with the breath. Play around with the balance. Maybe draw the forehead towards the left shin. Lift that right leg up even further. Take one more inhale. And then exhale without touching the right foot on the floor. Draw the right knee up towards the chest. Standing on the left leg. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky, and then standing pigeon, cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh, bring the hands down to heart center, and sit back down into that left leg. Gently pull the right knee open to open up that right hip even more. Find your balance, find your drishti. And remember that if you wobble and if you fall out of the pose, that's just part of the practice. And remember that if you fall, that it's just part of the practice. Come back into the pose and try again. Because why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves back up. And yes, that is a quote from a Batman movie. But when was Batman ever wrong? All right, think about it. Let's take one more inhale here in standing pigeon. And then exhale, draw the right knee towards the chest. Reach the hands up to the sky on an inhale. And then exhale, warrior three in one movement. Reach that right heel back, level off through the hips, reach the hands forwards. Keep the right toes pointing towards the floor. Bring the hands to heart center for a moment. Lift that chest up even higher. Take one more inhale. And then bend the left knee as you exhale. Land the right toes on the ground. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky for a crescent pose. And then exhale, vinyasa. Hands down to frame the left foot. Step the left foot back, but keep the left foot lifted, so one-legged plank. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, bend the arms, one-legged chaturanga, keep the belly hovering above the ground. Push it up. Two more times, lower down. Exhale, push it up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, push it up. Drop the left foot down to the ground. Take an inhale, shift the shoulders forwards, come onto the tiptoes. Exhale, classic vinyasa. Inhale, lift the chest, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a huge inhale through the nose. And then exhale out the mouth, let it go. It is very hot here today in Bali, so I've got my AC on full blast, but it's really not making a difference. I'm already starting to drip with sweats. So hopefully I can channel some of that heat and some of that energy to you, wherever you might be in the world. Okay, so we're going to move through that same sequence on the opposite side. Take an inhale here in downward facing dog. And then exhale, step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back, come onto the fingertips. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dissolve. Put a bend into those knees and inhale, circle the hands all the way up to the sky, Urdhva Hardasana. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, hands to center. Inhale, fingertips reach, maybe lean back and look up. And then exhale, take the plunge, forward fold, hands down to the floor. Inhale, lift the chest. And then exhale, step the left foot back, drop the left knee down to the ground. Untuck the left toes and crawl those hands up onto the right leg. And just like we did on the previous side, begin to pulse those hips up and down. Open up the front side of that left leg, the left hip flexor. Start to find that foundation within the lower body. And when you're ready, on an inhale, float the hands up to the sky. Get long through the sides of the waist. Send the hips forwards and down for a moment. Breathe into the front side of that left leg. Take an inhale, reach the fingertips up. And then exhale, open twist to the right, right hand back, left hand forwards. Keep those hips low, keep the spine tall. Reach the hands away from each other. And then begin to reach the right hand down to the left leg, grabbing on to wherever you can, and reach the left fingertips to the back of the space, keeping those hips nice and low. Anchoring down through that left hip, reaching that left shoulder away from the hip and breathing into that left side body. Take one more inhale here, reach those fingertips. Exhale, bring the left hand down inside the right foot. Tuck the left toes under, left knee off the ground. Inhale, reach the right fingertips up to the sky. Sink those hips low, pull the right hand back for an easy twist. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, pivot the toes to the left side of the yoga mat, straighten the legs. Find that comfortable wide stance where you feel the stretch, but you don't feel any pain or any discomfort. And then let the upper body be heavy. Taking any variation that you want to here in this Prasarita, this standing straddle forward folds. Flexibility for the hips. I always like to reach the hands under and through my legs to the opposite side of the yoga mat, and then just use the traction there within the fingertips to pull myself gently even deeper into the pose. Wherever you are, bring the hands back beneath the shoulders. Take an inhale, come onto those fingertips, lift the chest up. And then exhale, slowly squat down into that left leg. Skandasana, spider lunge, On the opposite side, breathe deeply into that right leg, keeping the right toes pointing towards the right knee, just to keep that right knee nice and safe. And then maybe drop the left heel down to the ground if you can. Let's take one more inhale breath here, and then sit the bum all the way down to the ground. Let's find our way back into that half shoelace pose on the opposite side, keeping that right leg glued to the floor. Cross the left leg on top of the right, try and stack those knees on top of each other. Anchor down low through the hips, find a neutral spine. And then inhale, circle the hands up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Down over the left leg, maybe walk the hands forwards. Close down the eyes. And settle into this pose for a moment. Come back to the breath. And then maybe we can dedicate today's practice to not only bringing flexibility to our bodies, but flexibility to our minds as well, by realizing the power that lies within perspective. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once wrote that we should bring our will into harmony with whatever happens, so that nothing happens against our will. So rather than trying to force your will onto the world today, maybe you can see yourself as fortunate enough to receive and to respond to the will of the world. Let's take a couple more breaths here just to explore this pose a little bit more. Maybe grab onto the outer edge of the right foot with the left hand. And then blink open the eyes. Start to walk the hands back towards the hips. Just take a moment here to let that spine realign. And then we're going to make our way back into a Skandasana. So same thing as before. You can use the hands for assistance, or I'd highly recommend just trying your best not to use the hands. Just play around and have some fun as we make our way back into this spider lunge position. We take an inhale here, and then exhale, move forwards, pyramid pose. Narrow the stance of the feet, point the left toes to the top left corner of the yoga mat. Begin to straighten that right leg, pull that right hip back, the left hip forwards. And then inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest. And then exhale, forward fold. One more time, inhale. Exhale, dissolve. All the way down on top of that right leg. And then the opportunity to come into a revolved triangle if it feels good to you. So come onto those fingertips. Keep the left hand glued to the floor. Keep the legs locked into this position. And then inhale, slowly float those right fingertips up to the sky. For a twist, maybe you can bring that left palm all the way down to the ground. Pull that right hip back. Extend the chest and the heart forwards. Pull that right hand back. And breathe into wherever you feel the action taking place. Take one more inhale, and then exhale, bring the hand down to frame the right foot. Bend the right knee, shift the weight forwards into that right foot and allow that left foot to float to the sky for a standing split. Try and lift
That left heel up as high as you can. Keep the left leg nice and straight. And again, the opportunity to bring that right hand to the back of the left ankle. And maybe even bring that left hand to meet the right hand as well. Maybe draw the forehead towards the shin. Keep that breath moving in and out through the nose. Don't hold your breath. Keep breathing. Take one more inhale. And then exhale without touching the left foot on the ground. Draw the left knee towards the chest. Standing balance on that right foot. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. And then exhale, standing pigeon. Cross the left ankle on top of the right leg. Bring those hands down to heart center and begin to bend that right leg as you sink down into that left hip. Gently pulling that left knee down towards the ground. Keeping your gaze at one point in front of you. And it's that razor sharp focus that's going to help you keep balanced. And as you sink those hips low, try and pull that chest up high, keeping that natural curvature in the spine. Create even more space in the body. Push into those palms. Lock yourself into this position. Take one more inhale. Draw the left knee to the chest. Reach the hands up to the sky. And then warrior three. In one movement. Reach the left heel back. Left toes pointing down towards the ground. Fingertips reach forwards. Level off through the hips. Bring the hands to heart center. Lift that left leg out even higher. Lift the chest up. Take an inhale. And then exhale, step to the back of the yoga mat. Bend the right knee. Inhale, reach the hands up to the sky for a crescent pose. Maybe lean back and look up. And then exhale, bring the hands down to frame the right foot. Step the right foot back, but keep it lifted. One-legged plank. And you guessed it. Let's do 4 more one-legged press-ups. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bend the arms. Push it up. Inhale. Exhale, lower down, shift forwards. Inhale, push it up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, push it up. Drop the right foot down to the ground. Plank pose. Protract the shoulder blades. Push into those palms. Tuck the tailbone, engage the core. And come back to the breath. We tend to hold our breath in these difficult moments, so whilst we hold this plank pose for, I don't know, should we do about 10 minutes here in plank pose? Do you think that's doable? I think the world record for a plank pose is about 17 hours or something like that. So you can do another 7 minutes, I guess. Keep that core strong, tuck the tailbone. Keep on pushing into those palms. How's that breath? Is it fast? Are you breathing in and out through the mouth? And if so, why are you doing that? Just bring it back inwards. Let that breath channel in and out through the nose. It's not a big deal, guys. It's just yoga. Okay, let's do 2 more deep breaths, okay? 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale. 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale. 1 more inhale, shift the shoulders forwards. Exhale, lower down to the ground, Sphinx pose. Bring the elbows beneath the shoulders, untuck the toes. Reach those fingertips forwards. Allow the chest to draw forwards through the gateways of your shoulders. Engage the glutes. And then maybe push into the palms and straighten those arms for seal pose. Take a deep breath. And then exhale out the mouth. Let it go. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, release everything down to the floor. Rest the forehead down on the ground for a moment. Come back to the breath. I'm going to keep my head lifted so you can hear me clearly through the microphone. And you might be wondering why are we doing so many press-ups? Why are we doing so many strong things in this yoga class? This doesn't seem like yoga. Well, to me, this is yoga. Because if yoga is a practice of presence, then what better way is there to practice that presence than putting yourself into a difficult position and then keeping that breath steady, keeping the mind calm, being able to silence that voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough, by simply pulling that breath deeper inwards. Because it's through those challenging moments that we grow, not just physically but mentally as well. And then we learn how to compose ourselves. So the next time you find yourself in a challenging moment out there in the real world and you know what to do, you know to come back to the breath and keep the mind calm, stay cool-headed, that's when you'll be thanking me for all the chaturangas and the long planks. Okay, let's bring those hands beneath the shoulders for a cobra position. Reach those toes back, take an inhale, pull the chest forwards, maybe come up into an upward facing dog so the legs lift off the ground, engage the glutes, broaden the collarbones. And then exhale using your muscles within the core to send the hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Take an inhale through the nose. And then exhale out the mouth, let it go. Now from here, we're going to begin to walk the feet forwards towards the hands, not in between the hands, but just behind the hands a few inches. Start to bend the knees and squat down, so you're sitting on the heels. And then I figured we'd have some fun with a crow pose today. So if you're brand new to this kind of thing, I always say that the key to a good arm balance lies within the fingertips. So rather than placing your hands completely flat on the ground, keep a slight bend in the fingers. And then as we start to shift forwards and the feet float off the ground, you can push into those fingertips, and that's going to help you stabilize. It's going to stop you from moving too far forwards and falling out of the pose. So to set up, bring those hands down to the ground, about shoulder width apart. Bend the fingertips so you can almost grip into the yoga mat. Let the inner elbows draw forwards, the triceps back. Lift the hips up nice and tall, stay on the tiptoes, and then begin to bend the arms and slowly place the knees on top of the triceps and begin to distribute the weight forwards into the fingertips until the toes feel light, and then maybe draw one foot towards the glutes and maybe draw the second. And there you are in a crow pose. Now hold here, just get a feel for the balance. And maybe you only come up for a second or so, it's all good, just as long as you're getting a feel for the pose. But if you want even more of a challenge here, then from your crow pose, maybe you can start to lift the right knee off the right tricep, let it hang in between the legs, and if you want even more, maybe you can start to extend the right leg back for a flying crow. The right leg back for a flying crow. And then obviously if you did that on the right side, you have to do it on the left side. So same thing again. Find your crow pose. Begin by lifting the left knee off the left tricep. Hold here for a moment with the knee in between the legs, and then extend the left foot back, shift the weight forwards. Take an inhale here. Bring the left knee back to crow pose. Take one more breath, and then all together, exhale, chaturanga, lower down to the floor. Untuck the toes, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, find your way into a downward facing dog. Send those hips to the sky. Drop the head, take a huge inhale. And then exhale, drop the knees down to the ground. Sit back onto those heels for a hero's pose just for a moment. Relax the body. Come back to the breath. And then let's find our way into a seated straddle forward fold. So drop the hips down to the floor. Straighten those legs out in front of you. Take an inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. And then exhale, begin to fold down over the legs. Bringing the hands down to the ground. Trying to find your edge in this pose. Maybe you can grab the bottom of the feet. And if you can grab the bottom of the feet, focus on bringing those elbows down to the ground outside the legs. And then once you have that, then you bring your attention towards dropping the torso even lower until you can bring the forehead all the way down to the shins. And then close down the eyes. With each inhale, find a bit more length within the spine. And with each exhale, allow that chest, that torso, to sink deeper down towards the legs. Nice work, everybody. Blink open those eyes. And then slowly, slowly, slowly walk the hands back towards the hips. And then find your way into a comfortable seated position. Probably with the legs crossed. If you want to grab a bolster or a pillow to sit on, go ahead and do that now. We're going to finish off today's class with some breath work. I'm going to rotate on the mat so you can see me, so you can see my sweaty face in all its glory. So sit up nice and tall, and we're gonna do Samavriti, which is alternate nostril breathing. So if you're new to this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our index finger and our middle finger of the right hand, place it in between the brow, and then we're going to use our thumb to close down the right nostril, and then our ring finger to close down the left nostril, as we alternate the breath between left and right. So first of all, let's get comfortable here in the seat. You can place the left hand in any position that you want to. You can leave the palm flat on the left knee, or you can turn the palm to the ceiling. You can take a mudra, whatever you want to do. And then let's bring the right index finger and the middle finger to the forehead in between the brows. And then just to make sure we're all on the same time, let's take an inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Seal the lips and close down the right nostril with the thumb. And begin to inhale through the left nostril. Once you reach the top of the inhale, close down the left nostril with the ring finger, and then exhale out the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. Close down the right nostril with the thumb, and then exhale out the left nostril. Inhale through the left nostril. Close down the left nostril, and then exhale out the right nostril. Inhale through the right. Exhale out the left. Inhale left side. Exhale right side. Inhale right side. Exhale left side. Inhale left nostril. Exhale right nostril. One more time, inhale through the right. Exhale out the left. And then release the right hand down to the right knee. Take a huge inhale through the nose, fill those lungs all the way up. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out the mouth, let it all go. Wherever you are, continue to follow that breath. Continue to enjoy your meditation. Maybe come down onto your back for Shavasana. And then I'm going to close down this class in about 30 seconds or so. So I'll see you on the mat again soon. Thank you for practicing with me today. And as always, Namaste.